Harry's Wife, Part 103.17. Archetypes. I cower and tiptoe into the room. Hello, my name is H.G. Tudor. Before I commence with the latest dissection of the podcrap that is Archetypes, which can be found on Spotify, it behooves me to advise you that you may find yourself feeling particularly beige as a consequence of being exposed to the banal outpourings of Harry's wife. You have been advised accordingly. Yes, it's Tuesday, and that means that there is another episode of Archetypes for you to enjoy. Another podcrap that comes from the Duchess of Sussex, the Duchess of Delusion, as another episode lands, and this is entitled Upending the Angry Black Woman Myth with Issa Rae and Zyvi. In this thought-provoking and stirring episode, we're told, Harry's wife gets to the bottom of the label that is often pinned on black women, angry. In her raw conversation with Issa Rae, coupled with candid chats with Zyvi and Professor Emily Bernard, this episode asks honest questions about the judgments we make about women, and especially women of colour. It begs the question, does setting boundaries, having an opinion and being clear make you angry or human? It strikes me immediately that conflating boundary setting and having an opinion with being angry is very much the mindset of Harry's wife when it comes to if somebody expresses a view that doesn't accord with hers and that it's about a criticism of her, then that equates to hate. And it is useful to have that at the back of your mind when dealing with this particular analysis of the podcrap. I'm going to turn to the Daily Mail as Rory Tingle and Harriet Johnston have gone there and listened to the podcrap. And they state, Harry's wife admits she's particular and says telling people what you need does not make you difficult or demanding. A lot of the time, nobody would think that it makes you difficult or demanding. And what Harry's wife, of course, doing is forgetting this. When she is demanding, and when she's difficult, she thinks it's her just saying, well, this is what I need. I'm not being difficult, I'm not demanding. She doesn't realise that bullying a member of her staff is making you difficult. She just thinks it's her asking for what she needs, and if you don't provide it, then you're the difficult one. When she's told, no, you can't have that tiara, she thinks, why are you making out that I'm being demanding? All I asked for was for that tiara for me to wear. When she's told, no, you can't put in these scented things in the chapel. No, that's an unnecessary demand. She thinks, no, I'm not being demanding. I'm just telling you what I need. And it's very important to preface whatever Harry's wife has to say by understanding the prism through which she is saying it. She seeks to ameliorate, euphemize, dilute her behaviours so that when she says something, no matter how nastily she does it, how furiously she does it, no matter how entitled she does it, you can't say that she's difficult or demanding. No. That will never do. She's simply telling you what she needs, and you'd better do it, because she's the Duchess of Sussex. She is she who must be obeyed. She doesn't see that her behaviour is difficult or demanding, and if you point it out to her, her narcissistic defence mechanism goes, no, that can't be right. For them to say that you're difficult or demanding, that demonstrates that they're biased, prejudiced, a hater, a misogynist, a racist. The article states as follows. Harry's wife has admitted she is particular. Everybody else would say that means difficult. But insisted telling people what you need does not make you demanding, as she claimed black women are stereotyped as angry in her latest Archetypes podcast on Spotify. Discussing her behaviour in work situations, i.e., once again using this platform to hit back at those that have criticised her for the way that she behaves, the Duchess of Sussex spoke of her frustration at cowering and tiptoeing into a room due to the fear she could be perceived negatively. This strikes me as a revision of history. I simply never see Harry's wife, notwithstanding the fact that she is a passive-aggressive narcissist, ever cowering or tiptoeing into a room. I'm particular. I think a high tide raises all ships. We're all going to succeed, so let's make sure it's really great, because it's a shared success for everybody, she said. There she is, using the high tide analogy again. It's actually a rising tide raises all ships. And of course, many people believe that this is character trait acquisition from Kennedy, who came out with it. But I actually understand that Kennedy's speechwriter and Kennedy confirmed that they actually took it from a different publication, something to do with New England, I think. And actually, the Chinese have used this as a proverb or saying for many, many years. I don't actually necessarily see that she has read this, but I think it's a phrase that she knows about, even though she gets it slightly wrong, and therefore just repeats it. But notice she said it recently in the Variety interview, and of course she must have done that interview around the same time as when she did this pod crap, and therefore we get treated to another fridge magnet platitude. I'm particular, I think a high tide raises all ships. We're all going to succeed, so let's make sure it's really great, because it's a shared success for everybody. False compassion. But I also find myself cowering and tiptoeing into a room. And the thing I find most embarrassing when you're saying a sentence and the intonation goes up like it's a question. And you're like, oh my God, stop like whispering and tiptoeing around it. Again, I can guarantee that she does not engage in any such behaviours. And what's actually occurring here is a revision of history once more. Just say what it is that you need. You're allowed to set a boundary. You're allowed to be clear. It doesn't make you demanding. It doesn't make you difficult. It makes you clear. Witness my earlier points about that. The 41-year-old has previously been branded Duchess Difficult following claims about her dictatorial behaviour and 5 a.m. emails, which allegedly prompted her aide Samantha Cohen to quit. Other broken royal staff told of being reduced to tears by bullying and temper tantrums. Harry's wife has always strenuously denied any claims of bullying, although I would observe, of course, that this has been repeatedly supported by the publications from Tom Bower and Valentine Lowe. In the episode called Upending the Angry Black Woman Myth, Harry's wife chats to actress Issa Rae and the comedian Zyvi Fumido to explore the stereotypes around women of colour. Now, of course, many people will be thinking, well, there are stereotypes that do surround women of colour, but it's interesting that Harry's wife allies herself with that because her colour seems to shift with what type of bronzer that she's using. She goes on a shopping trip in Monty Shit Show and looks pretty white, then pops over to Britain and then looks rather bronze. Of course, the chameleon-like nature of her narcissism causes her to be what she wants to be. Among the episodes of the revelations are, Harry's wife suggests the archetype, again she doesn't understand the difference between archetype and stereotype, the angry black woman who is over-emotional dates back to slavery, suggests the trope has influenced her own behaviour, and she makes a choice to be as grounded as possible. Well, of course, Harry's wife, you're a saint, because of things that are going to be said no matter what. Reveals she watched the nomination hearings for Ketanji Brown Jackson, the first black Supreme Court judge, and found them painful and gripping. Character trait acquisition, she doesn't give a jot. Says when she was casting for black women roles as an actress, the characters always had an edge or an attitude. I'd be very interested to know what those castings were, seeing as her resume said that she was Caucasian. Reveals she's had a genealogy test which identified her as 43% Nigerian. Well, of course, that's her utilising that character trait to triangulate people to say, you can't say that I'm 1/8 black. I'm 43% Nigerian. Ultimately, we're all descended from coming out of Africa, if you basically look at the way that our species has developed. So I'm sure that many people could have a genealogy test, and even somebody who is very white, blonde-haired and blue-eyed could find a bit of Nigerian in them somewhere. Says it's time to try on what it feels like when we're allowed to just live our truths. there's that phrase again, our truths, are to be direct without being called angry, to exist on our own terms, to just be human. In other words, it's time for all of you to allow me to be who I want to be. And notwithstanding the fact that you all say that my behaviour is awful, nasty and reprehensible, it's not. Stop it. You're not allowed to say that about me. I'm Harry's wife and I'm allowed to do what I want. During the podcast, Harry's wife described attending a socially distant drinks 2 years ago and being given a book called Algorithms of Oppression by internet expert Sophia Noble. Now, Sophia Noble, PhD, is an Internet Studies scholar and professor of gender studies and African American studies at the University of California, Los Angeles, where she serves as the co-founder and faculty director of the UCLA Center for Critical Internet Inquiry. She holds affiliations in the School of Education and Information Studies and is a research associate at the Oxford Internet Institute at the University of Oxford, where she is a commissioner on the Oxford Commission on AI and Good Governance. In 2021, she was recognised as a MacArthur Foundation Fellow, also known as the Genius Award, for her groundbreaking work on algorithmic discrimination. In 2022, she was recognised as an inaugural NAACP recipient. Dr. Noble is a board member of the Cyber Civil Rights Initiative, serving those vulnerable to online harassment, and the Joint Centre for Political and Economic Studies, the nation's oldest black think tank. She is the author of a best-selling book on racist and sexist algorithmic bias in commercial search engines, entitled Algorithms of Oppression: How Search Engines Reinforce Racism, which has been widely reviewed in scholarly and popular publications. That's the detail with regard to Miss Noble. And Harry's wife got herself a copy of this book. And she discloses, once I arrived back home, and when I did, I was actually shocked. Why? Were you shocked to be back home? Did you not think you'd be there? Did you know this? I kept nudging my husband as we were sitting there in bed. She said, no doubt Harry was thinking, will you fucking shut up? I'm trying to sleep. The Duchess said the book's thesis that the algorithms behind search engines like Google are racist left her jaw on the floor. And, of course, it would naturally enable her to fit a narrative that would enable her to make use of it. Now, I haven't read this publication. I haven't critically assessed it. It may well be accurate in what it says. But the point is, it suits Harry's wife's purposes to at least claim to have read this book and to utilise it for the purpose of triangulation. The article continues. She recounted how when Miss Noble researched why are black women so, the results included so loud, so mean, and so angry. Well, let's have a little look at what Google throws up. So let's commence with why are black people? And that offers the following choices. Why are black people so good at running? Why are black people's eyes yellow sometimes? Why are black people's bottom lip pink? Why are black people so tall? Why are black people's hair texture different? Why are black people's hair kinky? If we put in why are black women so, it doesn't offer anything at all, which is interesting, as maybe they've changed it. Who knows? Then let's see about another category. Why are white people? Why are white people called Caucasian? Why are white people white? That's all that it offers there. Let's move away from colour. Why are fat people? Why are fat people strong? Why are fat people's faces red? Why is being fat celebrated? Why are humans getting smaller? And let's help out Prince Harry. Why are ginger? Why are gingers called gingers? Why are gingers so attractive? Why are gingers so pale? Why are ginger cats male? Why are ginger cats so friendly? Why are gingers so mean? Why are ginger snaps spicy? Why are ginger cats so weird? Why are ginger cats so crazy? Why are gingers going extinct? Moving it on to gingers. Why are gingers called gingers? Why are gingers so attractive? Why are gingers so pale? Why are gingers so mean? Why are gingers more angry? Why are gingers going extinct? Why are gingers so angry? Why are gingers gingers? Why are gingers bullied? Why are gingers being replaced? It seems to me that the oppression of the algorithms here really ought to be focusing on poor old Prince Harry, as it's the gingers that seem to be the oppressed people here. Nevertheless, returning to what the Daily Mail states, earlier in the episode, Nigerian-American comedian Miss Fumado described how her brash and rude on-screen persona was in direct opposition to what a woman should be publicly, according to sexism. Well, no, I think we all expect and want women and men to be polite, don't we? To exhibit some degree of decorum in the way that they go about their behaviours. Common sense, really. In a monologue responding to her comments, Harry's wife said she was so right, and that when looked at through the lens, there's that word again, of black women, her point of view was pretty inspiring. Thanks for that meaningless observation. Introducing the next segment, a conversation with actress Miss Ray, Harry's wife said it was time to try on what it feels like when we're allowed to just live our truths, to be direct without being called angry, to exist on our own terms, to just be human. Again, of course, all about let me be me, you horrible haters. After asking Miss Ray if she wants a coffee, fuck me, this is really, truly groundbreaking broadcasting, isn't it? Harry's wife reveals she only recently started drinking coffee again. Whoa. Well, thank you for sharing that. We all needed to know about that. Perhaps, valuable viewers, you'll tell me about your beverage choices in the comments section. So apparently, she's only recently started drinking coffee again after not even thinking about it when she was in the UK. When I was on set, of course, it was like Nespresso all day. Wink, wink to George Clooney, no doubt there. All day, every day. And then I didn't drink it really in the UK and didn't think about it. Fucking hell, she really thinks that people find this interesting. The Duchess later gave another insight into her own acting appointment and how when she used to go through casting lists of black characters, they always had to have an edge or an attitude. One example of alleged racism against black women discussed on the podcast was the treatment of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson during her Senate Judiciary Committee hearings. Judge Jackson, the first black woman to serve on the Supreme Court, was quizzed on her views on issues such as critical race theory and whether they would interfere with her decision-making. Harry's wife said, "I remember watching these hearings in the summer of 2022. They were gripping and painful." Then Judge Jackson remained poised and composed no matter what was happening for her beneath the surface, which I cannot begin to imagine. At the end of the podcast, the Duchess paused to hear a rendition of the poem Still I Rise by Maya Angelou. It then goes on to talk about forthcoming events for her, which I've covered in separate videos. Once again, industrial beige on a massive scale and basically using the podcast as a stick with which to berate her opponents and to nullify those threats to control, all whilst engaging in character trait acquisition and telling people not very much at all. Naturally, we have to take a quick look into the comments section, don't we, to find out what people have to say about her observations and what has been going on, that they need to find out or rather we need to dip in and see how people are responding to this latest presentation by her. Mandy, she's still wittering on. PT, what Harry's wife wants, Harry's wife gets, said Harry. Woman interrupted. Depends on how you ask for what you want. There is a decent person's way and a bully's way. The bully gets labelled demanding and angry because they are. The point that I was making. Shabs 22. Who is she to tell anyone anything? She was never a manager to order anyone. Bofinkin. No family to speak, all the wedding guests, but a few ones gone, and little Rachel still doesn't get it. Wednesday 1. It's not what you say, it's how you say it that's the problem. The way in which she spoke to her staff left them in distress. That constitutes bullying. Everton 1. Liverpool 0. So utterly boring. Manners are top of my list, and this woman seems to have dropped hers years ago. There is a way to tell people what you need, and bullying them and berating them is not good. Aren't we tired of her by now? Discriminating snark. Can her employees do the same? Bojangles 83. Go away already. Peculiar really doesn't sum it up. Travis Mont. What an entitled little madam she is. Archetypes. This woman's nerves speaks, or rather this woman never speaks about what other people need and how she is ready to give it to them. It's all about what she needs. Sarah Band. We British are very particular too. That's why she isn't wanted back here. Stinky, fake it till you make it, Harry's wife. Care Bear, she is particular, ? That depends on your bank balance. Hot in AZ, telling people what you need, how very royal of her. Most people ask, not tell. Shoof, no, Harry's wife, telling people what you need doesn't make you difficult or demanding, it's the way you tell them that makes you such. Barbara White, you will never get Harry's wife to understand what you are trying to explain to her, as she will never listen to anyone else. She is in an imaginary world of her own, where no one else is of any importance. Eventually, she will fall to earth when the rug gets pulled from under her. Hopefully very soon for the sake of her children. Harry, sadly, will find he will be sidelined like her other two husbands. E.T. Gourmet, we had 2 blissful days of 0 stories about this pair, now this. Sunshine 464, this podcast is basically every criticism I've ever received and why it's wrong. Cathatar, big difference between wanting something and needing something. Once again, the lady proves to misunderstand the word she uses. Magnificent D, okay, Harry's wife, this is what we all need, for you to go away and shut your mouth, please and thank you. Busy Mum of 3, it is true that black women who speak up about racism or misogyny are often labelled as the angry black woman, which is awful. It is also true that Harry's wife is mixed race and had a privileged upbringing and now lives a very privileged lifestyle, as do her children. So I think that needs to be mentioned, that darker-skinned black women are treating appallingly and deal with far more microaggressions and overt racism. Harry's wife has a voice, no matter how many times she tells us she doesn't, and a platform to effect real change. So is she going to acknowledge the privilege that comes with being a light-skinned black woman, or the privilege of being a duchess and a multimillionaire? I don't think she is, and that's not really benefiting any of the women of colour who don't have those privileges, is it? Riverrat799, what Harry's wife needs is more positive attention from the media, using a platform where she is in complete control and can edit out anything that could cause her a vexation. Hubba hubba, an endless supply of complaints and grievances from this woman, then off to Paris on her private jet for a day of shopping. Won't be silenced 2022. The way she constantly promotes herself and justifies her poor behaviour is beyond egotistical, and I wish she'd just be quiet. It's utterly boring. The comments all recognising that she makes it all about her, can't understand the way she talks is nonsense, going on again about the same quote, that she doesn't ever shut up, that she keeps on talking, and it's all about her. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.